Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf, Beitzah of Ches. We begin at the Mishnah right on top of the Amud. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shekel Adam Basar Keneged Akli Keneged Akayfetz. A butcher would like to distribute some meat on Yom Tov, of course without mentioning value or price, as we discussed yesterday. But he'd like to know how much he's giving. How heavy is this slab of meat? Which would allow him to come back next day and charge the right amount. So in keeping with the spirit of Yom Tov, he meant to keep away from weighing things in the conventional manner. Rather, do it a bit differently than the way it's done during the week. Do it in a non-commercial way. How do you go about doing that? It says Rabbi Yehuda, use an improvised weight instead of a standard weight against which you weigh that slab of meat. Do something different. Shekel Adam Basar Keneged Akli. Take that piece of meat and weigh it against a kli, or Keneged Akayfetz, or a large knife. And come the next day, you'll figure out the weight of that item and charge accordingly. Don't use a scale whatsoever. You're not meant to engage in scale use on Yom Tov whatsoever. Says Rashi on the top line. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shekel Adam Basar, Tabach HaMoicher Basar b'Mishkal. So this butcher is selling off some meat on Yom Tov. Although you're not meant to weigh against a weight, the Hainu Maser Chol, which is a weekday manner of distributing meat. However, you can use an improvised, non-conventional method of weighing opposite a kli, which is a sakin gadol by basar. So it's a meat cleaver. Dika shine, which is a deviation from conventional, and therefore doesn't look like a weekday commercial activity. This is in keeping with the spirit of Yom Tov. Chacham say, ein mashkichin, ein ma'ainin. Don't engage, don't use a scale altogether. Says the Gemara, my kol ikar, what do the Chacham mean? Ein ma'ain, ein mashkichin, kol ikar at all. What are they coming to add? Omar Vida Mashmuel, afilu l'shamra min achbarim. Even if the intent is simply to watch the meat, you're going to place it on the scale to keep it hanging up in the air away from mice. Don't do that on Yom Tov. Don't make use of a scale at all, which gives the impression of weekday activity. Amar Rav Ida bar Avin, v'hu Talia betrita. Provided that scale is hanging on its ring, which is the way it would hang when it's going to be used. So when it's positioned in that manner, using it in any context should be avoided. Shmuel, listen to this chiddush, tabach uman. You have an expert, an experienced butcher. Also, lishkol basar biyad. He can't even weigh basar manually. So he'll have the weight in one hand, he'll have the piece of meat in the other, and he'll compare weights. Since this is the way he does it during the week as well, it's considered ordinary, conventional manner of weighing, has that commercial ring to it, and it's us. Likewise, tabuch uman, an expert, experienced butcher, also lishkol basar b'mayim. You shouldn't weigh his meat in water. So dunk the slab of meat into a container full of water, which has marks, in which case he sees how high the water rises, and he knows that now this piece of meat weighs this much amount. So he's not meant to use this method of weighing either. Nor should he go ahead and carve out a handle in the slab of meat, which enables the customer to take it home. It's also derech chol, has a commercial presentation to it and should be avoided on Yom Tov. Or Arvino biyad shari, if he does it manually without using a kli, that's an improvised manner of doing it. It's non-conventional. It's derech shinei, and it keeps with the spirit of Yom Tov. Amar Rav Huna mutar la'aseh siman b'basar. Likewise, you can make a siman when you deliver meat, so that siman will enable you to identify, the receiver will identify it via this preset signal, this siman. You can do that on Yom Tov. Ki hada Rabbi bar Avuna, as we find by Rabbi, when he would send meat home using a non-Jew as delivery man, he would cut a piece of meat in a triangular fashion, which was a predetermined sign between himself and his family, which will help them identify this meat and determine that it's kosher. You can do that on Yom Tov. It has nothing to do with buying and selling. It's just a way to ensure proper identity. Rab Chiv, Rab Shimon bar Rebbe. So these were sons of Rebbe. Rab Chiv was the son of Rebbe, and Rab Shimon was the son of Rebbe. When they divided their meat supply, which they got from their father, they would do as follows. Instead of resorting to weigh against a kli, they would weigh one cut of meat opposite another cut of meat, and the other one had a predetermined weight to it. They knew exactly how much the other one weighs. So it wasn't a real weight. It was a piece of meat. It wasn't a predetermined weight. It was just one portion against the other. So when they would divide their meat, he would take this much, he would take the other amount. They would weigh it up, make sure that they weigh the same, and each son is receiving an equal amount. So according to them, you could be shekel moneh keneged moneh, one portion opposite the other. Now this is a chiddush, because we don't find this heter in our Mishnah. Kiman, in accordance with whose shita in our Mishnah was this said? Like Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabban, not like Rabbi Yehuda or Rabban. Why? Ik Rabbi Yehuda, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, he doesn't allow meat to be weighed against other meat. Ha'amar shekel adam basar keneged akli, or keneged akayfetz. He allows weighing against a kli, against a knife. Keneged akli in only against a knife. Keneged midei achrin eloi, but not against another piece of meat, which is the conventional manner of dividing pieces of meat, although it's not a method employed in the marketplace. But when two people want to divide an animal, such as two sons dividing their parents' meat supply, then why wouldn't they employ this method? Weight in itself is not an issue. The point is that it should be done fairly. So you do moneh keneged moneh, one slab against the other. So according to Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah, that's not allowed. That's called derech chayil. Only keneged akli, keneged akayve. That's a really improvised manner of doing this, but otherwise you can't do it. So it doesn't work according to Rabbi Yehuda. Ikar Rabban, well, according to Rabban, it's even worse. Ha'amri, didn't they say, Ein mashkichin b'kaf maznaim kol ikar? You're not meant to make use of a scale at all. You're not meant to weigh anything against the other. So who are they following? Inu de Ovid Rabbi Yehoshua. Apparently they're following Rabbi Yeshua's shita, who allows weighing one slab of meat against the other. The Sani Rabbi Yeshua, Emer shekel moneh keneged moneh b'yom tov. You can take a piece of meat and weigh it opposite the other one. It's not the way it's done in the marketplace. Although it's derech chalukah, it's the way people would divide a jointly owned meat supply, but it doesn't have that commercial ring to it, and it's mutter. So in conclusion, we have three sheets regarding weighing meat on Yom Tov. Rabbi Yeshua, we have Rabbi Yehuda, and the Chachamim. According to Rabbi Yeshua, weighing a piece of meat against a true weight is certainly aser, but against other basar is mutter, and certainly keneged a kli, which is not an accepted method of weighing at all. According to Rabbi Yehuda, against a weight, or even keneged basar, which is an acceptable manner of dividing meat, would be aser. Keneged a kli is certainly mutter. According to Chachamim, none of the above is mutter. Ein mashkichin b'kaf maznaim kol ikar. It has that weekday ring to it. Keep away. Continues the Gemara. Amar Rav Yosef, halach Rabbi Yeshua. You meant to note that halacha follows Rabbi Yeshua, who allows weighing moneh keneged moneh, one cut of meat against the other. How do I know? We have a mission, b'cheres, which supports him. A mission which indicates that this type of weighing is not really up there with the other manners of weighing. This is not psula mikdash. Have a carbon who developed a mum. So you sell the carbon, but really you meant to still be careful to keep it low key in a non-commercial setting. However, we have a heter to actually sell the product of psula mikdashim out in the marketplace, the way you do ordinary meat. Why hanasan lehegdish? Because if you sell it commercially in the marketplace, you're going to get more for it. In which case, hegdish will benefit, will gain, because a person now will be willing to offer hegdish more money when coming to redeem that animal, because he knows he'll have a higher return when he sells it. But when it comes to, let's say, a bechor, which is your private behemah, hegdish doesn't gain from that sale. So if this bechor gets a mum, you cannot sell it commercially. However, if you decide to sell a little bit in your home privately, you can do so, provided you do so in a respectful manner. What's an example of a low-key type of sale? A non-conventional method of selling portions of bechor in your home. You can go ahead and weigh a slab of meat against another slab of meat, which doesn't have that commercial ring to it. Apparently, it's not called proper weighing, and therefore, says the Gemara, let's assume the same applies to Yom Tov. In keeping with the Yom Tov spirit, don't weigh the way you ordinarily weigh your meat, but mana kedeged mana, meat against meat would be mutter. We're comparing Yom Tov to Bechor. Only Abaye, once again Abaye, just as yesterday, he challenged Rabbi Yosef's connection. He says, how could you compare the two? Perhaps the two things can be separated. Perhaps it's only over here that Rabbi Shua allows weighing meat opposite meat on Yom Tov. There's no concern of the carbon being degraded. We're dealing with Yom Tov, it's not a kachim related concern. Therefore, as long as you deviate your mishane from the way you do it, even mana kedeged mana conforms. Aval hasim, when it comes to a bechor, which is a carbon dika b'zayin kachim, where there's an issue of bima vaza, the carbon light, perhaps you can't allow this type of weighing, because it's still weighing, and it's still an accepted method of weighing when you divide meat. It doesn't have that kachim flavor to it. You commercialize, you're treating it like an ordinary object. So perhaps on Yom Tov it's mutter, but not when it comes to a carbon. Inami, another way to differentiate. Ad kan like Amir Rabban Hasan, perhaps it's only over there the Chacham don't allow. They don't allow you to weigh mana keneged mana by bchar el mishum deli mechsi. Sorry, maybe although the Chacham allow you to do it by bchar, that wouldn't be a license by Yom Tov. Ad kan like Amir Rabban Hasan, perhaps it's only over there by bchar that the Chacham allow it to weigh mana keneged mana el mishum deli mechsi k'odin k'chayil, because over there it's not a question of keeping the Yom Tov spirit. The point is, don't commercialize your carbon. Well, you're not commercializing it, you're selling it in a very improvised manner, weighing meat opposite meat. As opposed to here on Yom Tov, we are even weighing in this manner. Gives the appearance of a weekly activity. Why? Perhaps over here the Chacham would not allow it. So either way, you can't compare. Perhaps Yom Tov is less severe. Over there is B'zayin Kachim, it's worse. Perhaps by Bechor, where the point is don't sell. Well, I'm not selling, I'm just dividing. It'd be mutter, but on Yom Tov, where it gives the appearance of a weekly activity, it would be usher. There's plenty of room to differentiate between two things you can't compare. So you have no raya that Rabbi Shua's halacha by Yom Tov holds true. Says the more remember the Kapti Adat. Let's go back to Reb Chia, Reb Shimon, the sons of Rebbe, who divided their meat equally. Do you mean to say they were so careful and particular about their portions of meat? We find that they were very easygoing when it came to dividing their parents' food. There was a story of 7 Shev Benisa, 7 fish, the Asl Bey Rebbe, which were delivered to Rebbe's home, their father. Vishtakach, and it turns out that 5 of them were found. Rav Chia's home, really coupled of Shim Rebbe and his brother Shim wasn't too makfid. Apparently they were easygoing with each other when they divided and received their parents' supplies. So what were they weighing with such accuracy on Yom Tov? Omar Papa, apparently we have to rework the names. It wasn't a discussion between the two brothers. There was a stranger there. Shadi Gavri Binai, let's insert a stranger right in the middle here. So either Rab Chia, Rab Shmuel, Rab Yesi, either the incident took place with Rab Chia and Rab Shmuel, Rab Yesi, wasn't his brother, or Rab Shimon Bar Rebbe, Bar Kapara, between Shimon Bar Rebbe and Bar Kapara, who sought to divide some sort of meat supply equally and fairly, and they resorted to weighing the mana connected mana b'Yom Tov, as we described earlier. So the bottom line is, on Yom Tov, you meant to keep the spirit of Yom Tov. You meant to do things differently, the way things are done during the week. Keep away from commercializing things. Keep away from weighing things. And we have several shittas as how to go about doing this. Continues the Mishnah. You have a knife, which is dulling a bit. You're not allowed to sharpen that knife on Yom Tov. It's perhaps even a melacha d'oraisa, makabeh patish. Avo ma'asi al gabe chaverta, but you can take one knife and scrape it over the other one, which is a non-conventional manner of sharpening, which isn't really effective, and that can be done on Yom Tov as well. You meant to know this concern only applies to a stone sharpening block, which is really effective. If you're only using a wooden block to sharpen your knife, that's okay, because it's not really going to be an effective sharpening process. So this was a statement in the name of Rav Huna. Stone is a problem, but not wood. Now we have another statement. Omar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. He's coming to explain Rav Huna. When you say stone is a problem, it's only when he's coming to actually sharpen his knife. Then it's also he's only trying to remove some excess grime, trying to clean up that knife by scraping it on the stone sharpening block. That's okay. He's not really doing an effective sharpening process here. Oh, says the Gemara, apparently, if you're telling me that by a stone block you shouldn't sharpen, but you can clean, apparently, what Rav Huna meant when he says only stone is a problem, but wood isn't, he meant to this extent that even if he's going to sharpen his knife on that wooden block, it will be mutter. Right? Rav Huna says stone is a problem, not wood. Rav Yehuda Shmuel explained, even stone, it's only a problem when he's going to sharpen, but simply to remove grime is mutter. Apparently, when it comes to wood, even sharpening would be mutter. There was another version of Rav Yehuda Shmuel's a statement, and it related to the second part of Rav Huna. It's going to be lechumra. He's going to be more machmer in the first lashon. Rav Huna says only stone is a problem, but a wooden block is not a problem. Shaleitz mutter. Comes Rav Yehuda Shmuel and he says, Amar Rav Yehuda Shmuel, when you say wood is not a problem, it's only when he's trying to remove grime from his knife. So it's a limited heter, only when he's trying to remove the shamnunis, but he's trying to actually sharpen his knife. Even a wooden block would make do and would be considered a problem. So it's a very limited heter. Even wood is only allowed in conjunction with the fact that he's only trying to remove grime. Says more, we have a diak, apparently when we speak about stone, yes, being a problem, and standing higher than wood, even if his intention is simply to remove the excess fat from his knife, it would be also because perhaps it's going to get sharpened in the process. Perhaps it might lead him to actually sharpen it next time. In any case, we're being machmer according to this version. Wood is mutter provided he's only cleaning, but sharpening is asr, and by stone, either way it's asr. So to summarize, Rav Huna came and he says, sharpening is only concerned against a stone block, but a wooden block is good. We have two versions of Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. One was Mekel, one was Machmer. We'll summarize it soon again. According to some editions, Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel actually said his pshat directly on the Mishnah, which said, "Ein mashchis nesasakim b'yom tov." Not meant to sharpen a knife on Yom Tov. On that we have Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. You know, this is only a concern when he's actually sharpening his knife. But if he's seeking only to clean up his knife on that sharpening block, it's mutter. Michlal says the Gemara apparently, right? If this is only said on the first part of the Mishnah, that when he's actually sharpening, we say, when he's actually using the sharpening block, we say it's only concerned when he's trying to sharpen, but cleaning up his knife is mutter. Michlal apparently. In the next case of the Mishnah, when it's an improvised manner, michlal lagab chaverta, if he's just simply scraping one knife against the other, I feel even if he's trying to sharpen his knife, it's mutter, because it's not going to really be an effective sharpening process. So according to this version of Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel, he's being makel, very makel. On the block, you can't sharpen, but you could clean. Al gabi chaverta, you could even sharpen. However, there's another version of Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel who learned that he was relating his halacha on the second part of the Mishnah. It's going to be a chumrah as a result. Mishnah says, don't use a sharpening block. Aval ma'asi al gabi chaverta, but you can take one knife and scrape it over the other one. On this we have Amar Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. He's going to be machmer. Lo yishono lahaver shamnonisa. His allowance is only if he's trying to clean up his knife. Aval lechad da'asa, but if he's actually trying to sharpen his knife, it's us. So it's a limited, defined heter. Now we make a diak. In the reverse, it's going to be machmer. Apparently, if we're speaking the actual sharpening block, even if his intention is simply to clean up his knife, it would be us. Because it might actually sharpen his knife. Next time, he might sharpen with it. Okay. So let's just summarize this section of the Gemara. We have two versions of Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel, version 1, version 2. We have two editions in the Gemara. According to edition 1, Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel was relating to Rav Huna, who came and he said, this Isser of sharpening only applies to a stone sharpening block, but if it's wood, it's mutter. According to version 1 of Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel, which ended up being a kula, he says this whole discussion is only when he's actually sharpening his knife. So then he can't use a stone block. But if he's simply trying to be maver de shamnunis, it's mutter even by a stone block, and if it's a wooden block, even sharpening is mutter. So it's a kula. Only time it's aser is in one case, stone, and he's sharpening. According to version 2, we discussed cleaning his knife. It's going to be a chumrah now, that if it's a stone block, he shouldn't make use of it at all, even if he's trying to clean up the fat of his knife. When it comes to a wooden block, well, Michael in that case, if it's only lahaver shamnunis, it's mutter, but if he's really trying to sharpen his knife, it's us. According to edition 2 in the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel was relating directly to the Mishnah, which said, Ein mashchizin, you can't actually use a sharpening block to sharpen your knife on Yom Tov, but you could be masi al gabi chaverta, you could run one knife over the other one. According to version 1 of Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel, we're referring to a case where he's trying to sharpen his knife. So if he's actually sharpening it on a block, it's aser. But if he's just trying to remove the grime, it's mutter. Apparently in the case where he's masi al gabi chaverta, it's mutter even if he's trying to sharpen his knife. It's not an effective sharpening process, it's mutter and Yom Tov. According to version 2 of Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel, which is machmer, using a sharpening block is aser even if he's trying to remove the grime. If he's masi al gabi chaverta, then it's mutter. If his kavanah is simply to remove grime, but even there, if he's actually trying to sharpen it, it would be aser. Continues the Gemara. Man Tana, the mashchezes aser. Who is the author of our Mishnah? It doesn't allow sharpening a knife on Yom Tov, even though it's for the sake of eichel nefesh, to do shchita. Apparently, it's not in line with Rabbi Yehuda Shita, who holds that not only Can one do a malacha for the sake of oichel nefesh itself, to cook and bake? You could even do malacha for machshirei oichel nefesh, for the preparatory acts, for the accessories of oichel nefesh, to prepare your knife for shchita. Mishnah doesn't allow sharpening. It's not like Rabbi Yehuda. This not. We have a Mishnah in Meseches Megillah. Ein ben Yom Tov leShabbos elo oichel nefesh bilvad. The only difference between Yom Tov and Shabbos is malachas for oichel nefesh. That's it. Cooking and baking. Rabbi Yehuda mater af machshirei oichel nefesh. He allows even doing malacha for preparing of oichel nefesh, such as sharpening the knife to enable you to do shchita. That's mutter as well. Amali Rava Rav Chizda. Rava turns to Rav Chizda, and apparently he got the wind that Rav Chizda was leaning to Rabbi Yehuda's shita, that you can do malacha even for machshirei oichel nefesh. And he says to him, Darshinan Shimcha halacha Rabbi Yehuda. Should we announce in your name that the accepted halacha is Rabbi Yehuda? Amalei, so he responded certainly. Yeh Rabbi Yiratzain the Chol Kihani Mili Mal Yas. All these good things Tidushu Mishmai should be related to my name. So apparently he passed like Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rav Nechem Yibed Rav Yosef. I was standing before Rava. Rava Kama Avar Lam Sakina, and he was rubbing his knife. I put the kula on the edge of the basket. And I turned to him and asked, "What are you doing? Are you actually sharpening the knife? You're doing a malacha for oichel nefesh, for machshirei oichel nefesh, rather, or are you simply trying to remove the grime? You're not trying to sharpen the knife." He responded, I'm just trying to remove the shamnonis. And I actually noticed that his intention was he was trying to sharpen the knife, but he didn't want to publicize that. Because he held halacha, although the halacha does accept Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, that you can do a malacha for machshirin, but we're not meant to publicize it. Why not? Says Rashi. On top, he's rubbing the sakin on the sal. He held halach Rabbi Yehuda. We don't publicize it. Why? It might bring zilzal. People might take it a step further. Says Rashi Achilles. We're going to sing the Gemara soon. Even if you could do machshirei oichel nefesh on Yom Tov, that's only provided you couldn't do it before Yom Tov. To Chalani the Sharin and all those in the upcoming Gemara that we allow on Yom Tov, could go into Shneskalkal be Yom Tov. You had a mishap on Yom Tov. You had some complications on Yom Tov itself, which necessitated a malacha. Or you show your esmal turd, or he's preoccupied yesterday. You didn't have the opportunity to do it yesterday. I'm going to come on, like hit Rabbi Yehuda, el machshir she'i efshal hashem erev Yom Tov. So even Rabbi Yehuda is limited in his license. Machshirin, yes, but only those that could not be done yesterday. Therefore, Rava hesitated to publicize. We accept Rabbi Yehuda as the halacha because people might take it beyond the allowance. Continues the Gemara with a similar story. 5 lines from the top. I was standing in front of my Rebbe, perhaps it's Rabba, and he as well was taking a knife and scraping it over the edge of the grinder. Mill. And I asked him, are you trying to sharpen the knife? Or are you simply trying to clean it up? He tells me, I'm just trying to clean up the knife. However, I noticed that his intention was he was trying to sharpen the knife in accordance with Rabbi Yehuda, although he held that the halacha accepts Rabbi Yehuda as fact, but we don't publicize it, as Rashi explained earlier. Listen to this shayla. We discussed the question of whether we can show a bechor to the chacham on Yom Tov. The svar or not was because when the chacham gives the okay, the confirmation that this is a mum kavua which allows shchita, he is in effect being matzah the bechor, generating a new heter. It's like running a court case on Yom Tov. The question is regarding the following shayla: Ma'ula haris sakan the chacham be Yom Tov. Can one show his knife, his shchita knife, to a chacham on Yom Tov? What's wrong with that? Says Rashi 6 lines from the top. Ma'ula haris hatabach sakan the chacham be Yom Tov livdik. Can a butcher take his knife and display it to the chacham to check Make sure it has no nicks. There was a halacha established by the Chachamim. Don't shecht unless you show the sakin to the Chacham. This can be yontif. This is mutar on yontif. So Rashi learns that the problem is, does it present as a weekday activity? It's improper. It's a public spectacle which appears like a weekday activity. He's preparing for commercial shchita to sell it in the marketplace. It doesn't conform with the spirit of Yom Tov. Perhaps not. Why should somebody think it's for commercial purposes? He's just trying to shecht an animal privately. The Baal Mar has a chiddush in Pshat. He says the concern is because he's being matir the sakin. You can't use the sakin otherwise. The fact that the chacham will affect a heter, will enable a sakin for use. That's like a masakin. That's similar to matir the bechor, which wasn't allowed yesterday. In yesterday's daf. So that's a shayla, yes or no. Says the Gemara. Rav Mari Breder of business shari. He says you're allowed to do this. Rabbon Asri, they don't allow. Rav Yosef Amar, he says a chiddush. Even if you don't allow, but have an exception. Talmud Chacham, Royal Atzma. The Chacham himself can view his knife, confirm its kashrus, and use it. And once he is Royal Atzma, he can, even if he doesn't use it, he can lend it to others. Mashil Lachem, he can lend it to others. So once he was mashal the knife for himself, which isn't a concern, we'll see soon why. So now he can lend it to others. It doesn't have that weekday presentation to it. It's a private affair between him and his knife. Then he can lend it to others. Now, if you hold like the Bala Ma'ur, Bimata a knife is like Bimasakin, it's like Bimata the Bechor, then why can the Chacham do it for his own knife? So the Rishonim, the Shittim Kebetz explains, for a stranger, it's considered generating a heter because the stranger doesn't have it within his ability to be matir the knife without the chacham's help. So when the chacham is matir, he's actually enabling the knife for use. He's being matir the knife for that stranger, a knife which otherwise would sit idle. When it comes to a chacham for himself, it's within his ability, within his reach to be matir his own knife. So the heter here is not so severe, not so significant. It's within his hands, within his biyad, within his ability to do it on his own. It's not considered something which is absolutely usher, which is now being enabled. And therefore, the Chacham on his own has no concerns. V'amar of Yosef, getting back to Rabbi Yehuda's shita that you can do malacha from achshira echel nefesh. Sakan she'amda. You notice your knife is dull on Yom Tov. Mutar lechad to Yom Tov. You can sharpen it on Yom Tov, and the chiddush here is that although perhaps you could have anticipated this condition before Yom Tov, dullness is not something that happens in 1 second. The process began a while ago, but it's not his fault. He didn't anticipate this rapid deterioration of his knife, and we don't hold it against him. He can sharpen it on Yom Tov. That's only provided the knife is still functional. It's a functioning knife. It can still sharp under pressure when you pressure it. So it's still a functioning knife. Otherwise, if it's that dull that it can't even do that, then sharpening is prohibited because of tirchi yisera, Rashi says, an excessive effort involved. Darish Rav Chizda v'tei mesamsei Rav Yosef taught as follows: Echad sakan shenifgima, whether it's a knife which got a pgam, a nick on Yom Tov, v'echad shfut shenertzam, or a spit used for roasting, whose head got broken and is now unsuitable for use. V'echad greifas tanam ekaraim, or sweeping the oven or the stove clean of any fallen cement. Yom Tov. All these activities on Yom Tov, are they mutter? It's a malacha for the sake of machshirei echel nefesh. It doesn't directly benefit your food. It's not like cooking or baking. You're preparing a tool, an oven, a spit, a knife, to prepare food. That's machshirei echel nefesh. But another machlokes, Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanon, this involves the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanon whether it's mutter or not. The sanya. Ein ben Yom Tov l'Shabbos. The only difference between Yom Tov and Shabbos is echel nefesh b'avad, malacha for direct food preparations. That's the Tanakama. Read the matter. Af machshirei echel nefesh. Even indirect food preparation is mutter, even to fix your tool to enable you to cook. My Tama Tanakama, what's the Tanakama's reason? Amakro hu levada yasalachem. Pasuk says, Ach asher ya'ochel l'chol nefesh. Hu levada yasalachem. The word hu tells you, v'loy machshirav, not the accessories. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, Rabbi Yehuda, Amar kra lochem. The pasuk has the word lochem as well, which is an inclusive term. It's a riba lochem lachotz rachechem. You can do malacha for all your needs as well. Tanakama ksiv lochem. What would the Tanakama do with lochem, which is inclusive? Amar lacha. It's actually a mute. Hu lochem v'loy lonachem. It's coming to tell you they can cook for a yid, not for a non-Jew. V'idach nami ksivhu. What does Rabbi Yehuda do with the restrictive term of hu? Amar lacha. Reader responds. We have a contradictory implication in the pasuk. Ksivhu, ksiv lachem. On the other hand, it says hu, which is restrictive. Then we have lachem, which is inclusive. So you have conflicting diyukim. For the kasha, the answers are like this. You can do malacha for machshir, but it depends what type of machshir, as we mentioned in Rashi earlier. Kan be machshir she'ef shel asoysin me'erev yantiv. A machshir which could have been done before yantiv does not allow malacha on yantiv. Kan be machshirin she'ef shel asoysin me'erev yantiv. However, if you could not get to it before yantiv, you can do it on yantiv. So who is restrictive? Lachem is inclusive. You can do machshir eichel nefesh, provided it conforms to this guideline. Omar Vidamar Shmuel, Shfuche Nirtzav. If you have this spit, which was trampled upon and got a bit bent, you can still use it, but you'd like to straighten it out. Also, you can't straighten it out. It's an unnecessary procedure. Pshita, of course. Why would I allow it? If it's a functioning spit, why would I allow this extra tircha, unnecessary exertion? The chiddush is, even with speaking in a case that feel the mafshet biyad, even if you don't need a tool, you can simply straighten it out manually. You don't allow it. It's an unnecessary tircha. What about this spit, which was used for roasting meat? So after you're done roasting, also tatla b'yamtiv, it can't be moved around in yamtiv. It's muktzah machmas miyas. It's repulsive. It's full of fat remnants. You shall leave it put. Rav Adabar Abba Omar Rav Malachav. He quotes Rav Malachav. Keep in mind this name, which is very important in the upcoming Gemara. Rav Malachav is the source of this halacha, and he says even this shvud, which was used for roasting, although you can't move it outright because it's muktzah, but you can quickly give it a shove over to the corner, get it out of the way. Rashi calls it tiltul manat sad. So not tiltul gomer, but some sort of roundabout tiltul, just shove it over to the side. Even that's only allowed provided sheyeshel of kazayis bas, it still has a kazayis bas on it, which allows you, enables you to do this type of shove. It's not a complete muktzah. Ravina Amar, he goes the other way. Even if there's no meat present on the spit, you can handle it outright, overtly. Get it out of the way. It presents a danger. The sharp spit sitting in the middle of your kitchen, get it out of the way. Just like the thorn present in the middle of the street. Rashi brings the Gemara in Shabbos, which allows you to move that kites or any dangerous object, like a broken piece of glass, a burning coal. You can move it less than 4 amas at a time, even though it can lead to malacha. Chacham suspended their concerns to accommodate the tzibur's safety. Here as well, says the Gemara, this sharp spit can be lifted, taken out of the way, outright, overtly, to avoid sakana. We have 3 shittas regarding this used spit. One shita allows pushing it, shoving it aside, even with no basar on it. Other shita says provided it has some basar on it, in which case it's not such a severe type of muktzah. According to Ravina, go ahead, handle it directly, get it out of the way, because it poses a sakana. Amar Rav China Breder Rav Ika. The following 3 halachas found throughout Shas were attributed to Rav Malachav. Right, so we have 2 Amoraim with similar names, Rav Malachav and Rav Malachaya, similar sounding names, and we meant to know which halachas are attributed to which one. Shvud, the halacha of this spit that we just learned, in the name of Rav Malachav. Shvachis, another halacha, which is actually related to a Mishnah in Ksuvos. Mishnah says, even if the Isha brings in 100 maidens, we force her to do some work because Batala, sitting idle, brings about Chet. So this is another thing, the name of Rav Malachav, who paskin the root like that Mishnah. So we have Shvud, that's by us, the spit, Shvachis, that's the halacha relating to the Mishnah in Ksubos. V'gumois, this is another halacha regarding the adulthood hair. So even if there's no actual hair, but we see the pores, that is enough of a siman. Now this is not a halacha related to a Mishnah, it's just a shmaita, meaning it's a halacha presented by the Amoira himself. So these three, Shvud, Shvachas, V'gumois, who said them? Rav Malachav. On the other hand, we have Beluris, which is a halacha related to a Mishnah of a Zara. The barber attending to the goy should not cut very close to the clump of hair which the goy is going to reserve for the Avodah Zarah. He has to stop 3 etzbois, 3 finger widths away from that hair. And that was a pshat presented by Rav Malachaya. He gave the shir of 3 etzbois. So Bluris, Efer Makle, that's another halacha, which was said by Rav Malachaya, Gemara Makas. One should avoid putting ash on his wound because it appears like he's tattooing himself. Ugvina, that was the third halacha, which is related to a Mishnah. Why is it that we can't have the non-Jewish cheeses? Rav Malachaya explained, because it's smeared with chazir, fat from a chazir. So these 3, Bloiris, Efer Malka, Ugvina, were said by Rav Malachaya. Okay, so we have 3 in the name of Rav Malachav, 3 in the name of Rav Malachaya. And this was presented by Rav China, Breder of Ika. He gave us this list. Rav Papa Amar, he disagreed slightly. He said Masnis and Masnis, he meant to categorize it differently. Halachas which relate to a Mishnah or to a Beitzah was said by Rav Malachaya. So Malachaya is like a king, like a queen. That relates to Mishnahs and Beitzahs which are superior to the words of an Amoira. So Malachaya goes together with halachas that were related to a Mishnah and a Beitzah. Shmaitza, whereas halachas which were presented by the Amoira himself, those were cited by Rav Malachav. A good way to remember is Masnisin Malkasa. The Mishnah and the Beitzah compared to a king and a queen, where they are superior to the words of the Amoraim. Actually, we ask for Mishnah and Beitzah on Amoraim. So in any case, Rav Malachaya, which sounds like a king, a queen, relates to the halachas pertaining to Mishnahs and Beitzahs, whereas Rav Malachav was the one who said the other halachas unrelated to Mishnahs and Beitzahs. Now, might be now, is there any difference between the way Rav Papa presents the list or the former list? There's one difference. It could be now shvachos. The halacha of the shvachos, which is something contained in a Mishnah, so according to the most recent list, Rav Papa's list, that belongs to Rav Malachaya, because that's Melech. And he's the one that related the halachas that pertain to Mishnah and Beitzah, so that belongs on his list. Right? So he should get 4. He should get Bluris, Efer Makla, and Gvina, and Shvachas as well. Whereas according to the first version, it was 3 and 3. Okay. So what we learned today, we spoke about keeping in the Yom Tov spirit and avoiding any displays of commercial like activities. For instance, weighing meat in the conventional manner will be us. What is allowed? So you have 3 shittas. How do you weigh meat on Yom Tov? The butcher would like to distribute some meat. How do you go about it? We have 3 shittas. So all agree you can't do it against a weight. What about keneged basar, which is not a commercial way of weighing, but it is a way, is a method employed when you're trying to split apart or divide a meat supply. Rabbi Yehuda says it's still mutter. Rabbi Yehuda and Chacham disagree. When it comes to using a kli, Rabbi Yehoshua and Rabbi Yehuda allow, and Chacham say don't use a scale at all on Yom Tov. We proceeded with the Mishnah. Be careful from sharpening a knife on Yom Tov, but you can go ahead and be masel gabe chaverta, take one knife and rub it over the other one. That's not an effective way of sharpening. Rav Huna says it's only a concern if it's a stone sharpening block, but block would be mutter. We had several versions in the Gemara to explain these halachas. The Gemara did conclude that there is a general machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim regarding the extent of the heter to do malacha for the sake of echel nefesh. You see, we have a pasuk that reads as follows: Ach asher ya'asel l'chol nefesh. Ach asher ya'achel l'chol nefesh hu levada ya'asel lachem. You have two ways to learn the pasuk. According to the Chachamim, a malacha strictly for echel nefesh is allowed. The word hu is coming to exclude machshir echel nefesh. The word lachem is coming to exclude nachram. Lachem v'lo nachram. We read the learns differently. Lachem is coming to include machshir echel nefesh as well. The word hu is coming to limit that heter. Only machshirin which could not have been done before Yom Tov can be done on Yom Tov. The halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda, but the Gemara says halacha ve'ein morin kain. We don't want to publicize it in order to safeguard kedushas Yom Tov. Can one show his knife to a chacham on Yom Tov? Machlekes. The chacham can certainly inspect it la'atzmai and then lend it to others. What about this spit after use? It's muktzah machmasmiyas, according to one shita. Shove it aside, kila achayad. According to the other shita, you can actually handle it directly in order to keep the home safe and secure. Kol tuv to you and much hatzlacha.